Oh, everybody. So I can't go around talking about all of them.
No, you have to,
On your backs because we're in front of you.
yeah, you have to be discreet.
When are you coming down?
Now, there's some people who I don't really know. Who's Howard Frederick?
Oh, you and
New
Howard
member.
are gonna like each other.
New member.
Why should I like Howard?
He's really smart, and Howard, you two will like each other very much. Howard and his wife Hannah are moving down.
I've heard Fred talk before. I'm looking for.
Michael. Prelude. Well, that should have woken us all up. Good morning and welcome to today's service at the Lake Chapala Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Cate Howell and I'm your service leader this morning. Our tech crew consists of Charlie Jacobs, Robert Barnett, Roy Haynes, David Hudnall, Colleen Beery, Trudy Crippen, Richard Clark working remotely, and Michael Reason on piano and Linda Jessens vocals. Our opening words this morning are by Andrea Hawkins Camper. Gather we now into this space, this time, when the wheel turns, veil shatters. Gather we now to remember, to grieve, to prophesy, to complete our harvests before the long dark comes. Gather we now to tell the old stories and to sing the old songs, to be as we have always been, the voice of our people eternal. Gather we now to celebrate that which was, that which is, and that which will be. Gather we now as we have always done, united by story and bound by love. And so I just want to welcome you with, live from Fellowship Hall, it's our LCUUF Sunday service. Our announcements were on a slideshow before the service. If you didn't see them, no worries. Matt will post a link to them tomorrow in his daily sharing. Our chalice words, lighting words this morning are by Katie Gelford. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crops with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. Please light your chalice now and sing along as Michael plays our lighting song. Each week, we take time to remind ourselves that we belong to a community which shares for each other. We do this by sharing any significant joys or sorrows in our lives. If you have a joy or sorrow to share today, you can type it into the chat and we will read those aloud. First, let us voice our sorrows or concerns, whatever you or the world may be holding that is in need of our healing and caring thoughts. And to begin with, the first one on these, I want to read one that was submitted, A Candle of Concern, as Karen Carpenter recovers from major surgery. We have nothing in the chat box. If anyone has, oh, now we do.
From Matt, a candle of sorrow and hope for Liz and my brother-in-law as he, I'm not sure, as he recovers. From Susie Lindemann, a sorrow. Her closest cousin died 3 days ago. And Matt says it was cancer therapy for his brother-in-law. Hard road.
If there are any other sorrows or joys, do write them in now. Now let us recall the joys. Whatever you may be celebrating, whatever evokes a feeling of joy or peace for yourself or others, you are welcome to type these into the chat box.
Joy from Liz, it's so nice to see everyone. A joy from Lynn, who says she's so happy to be home. From Howard Frederick, he is so happy to return to Chapala after suffering these last months in the US. From Linda Jessen, we are arriving 1 month earlier than scheduled. Yay, November 16th.
And finally, we have a candle from our care team representing those sorrows that are too raw, too difficult for us to share aloud. So many of us have had losses, partners, children, grandchildren, losses that remain present with us every day. We light this candle for all those unspoken sorrows. Today's reading is Coming Out Day by Kimberly Ann Tom Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you begin seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home. Welcome to worship. Our presentation today is given by Jan Manning and is called October Festivals.
Thank you, Kate. Fred Kosling told us a few weeks ago that he missed our in-person Sunday meetings. As he said, "Ah, well, the good old days." I agree heartily with his feelings because I too miss our good old days, our Sunday morning philosophy meetings, our toe-to-toe gatherings, standing around, gabbing over Francisco's coffee and all the goodies, catching up on the events of the week with each other. And especially I miss when I speak in front of you. I like having a live audience to talk to. If you celebrate your birthday in October, you are far from alone. It is the most popular month for birthdays. Do an informal poll of your friends and see for yourself. Or check out the birthdays in the latest UU newsletter for October. You will see lots of October birthdays, October babies. Then start counting backwards. September, August, July, to the cold months of February and January. And remember that time right after Christmas? It's too cold to go out, There's no money for entertainment. What else is there to do? Those born in October are mostly Libra or Libra Scorpio cusps. Among other traits, they share an inner beauty and an outer charm and tend to make a lot of friends. They also love to chat. They share their natal month with the likes of Christopher Columbus, Vladimir Putin, Theodore Roosevelt, Mahatma Gandhi, Hillary Clinton, John Candy, Oscar Wilde, and Mahalia Jackson, along with thousands of other famous names. But as well as birthdays, October is a great month for festivals and fiestas. The first that comes to mind, starting off the month, is Oktoberfest in Munich, Germany, and around the world. As of July, the one in Germany has been canceled this year. Its copious consumption of beer and roast chicken and pork will be missed this year. Then, of course, ending the month, there's Halloween and Day of the Dead, which Matt will talk about later this month. In Mexico, there are 12 major festivals in October, and I picked only 4 to highlight for you today because there are other international days that I want to mention as well. October is the end of the rainy season, and we in Mexico are blessed with almost perfect weather. Warm, clear, mild days and balmy, romantic nights. An excellent time to begin celebrating and welcoming visitors from all over the world. It is a splendid time for spreading music, laughter, good food, and culture, something Mexicans are masters at. One of the biggest cultural festivals of the year is Festival Internacional Cervantino, held in Guanajuato, this year from October 14th to 18th. It began in the mid-20th century by someone from the University of Guanajuato who put on short plays by the author Miguel de Cervantes. Soon it came to the attention of the government through actress Dolores Del Rio. And in 1972, it expanded, with federal support, to add international flavor and to become the most important artistic and cultural event in Mexico and Latin America. In 1975, Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh visited the festival. Every year it attracts international artists such as the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, the New York Philharmonica, Joan Baez, the National Ballet of Canada, Nicolay Dance Theatre, the Bolshoi Ballet, and many, many more top international artists. As well as government support, there are a number of private sponsors including Telmex, Televisa, and Microsoft. The streets of Guanajuato are scurrying with street performers, as well as classical and contemporary music concerts, dance theater performances, visual arts, exhibits, and film screening. The streets are full of bustling activity for almost 3 weeks in October. Next, we move to Guadalajara for La Fiestas de Octubre, which is held from the first Friday in October until the first Monday in November. It began as a means to encourage culture and tourism in Guadalajara. There is a traditional parade to begin the month-long family festivities, and each year a different theme is chosen to focus on, such as in 2003, Tales and Legends, in 2006, Magical Mexico, and in 2008, Myths. On to Oaxaca for the Oaxaca Film Fest. This festival, founded in 2010, is a platform for both seasoned performers and newcomers to premiere their work and introduce it to new audiences. The festival is also devoted to expanding the audience for independent film. This is a great venue for both professional and emerging artists to learn new skills and enjoy great films. This is their mission statement. Our vision is to be an innovative and revolutionary festival that is ultimately the festival of choice for filmmakers and scriptwriters around the globe, and to create an accessible gateway for the international cinema community to develop high-quality projects. The venue has 14 screens, and there is a question and answer period in both Spanish and English after each screening, with filmmakers, producers, and others involved in the films. In 2019, one of the highlighted films was a documentary entitled Banda, directed by Carlos Amilla, about the creation of a youth brass band, Luz del Rosario, founded by a dedicated music teacher, in which the young musicians improved the skill to such an extent that they were invited to participate in the Jalisco Jazz Festival in Guadalajara. The 14-year-old trumpet player, Brandon, now 19, was visibly moved after the screening, having seen this documentary for the first time at the festival premiere. And what would Mexican fiestas and festivals be if we didn't speak of tequila? Expo Tequila, founded in the year 2000, is the largest tequila festival in Mexico and takes place in Tijuana for 4 days in mid-October. Over 400 brands of the best tequilas are available for sampling and buying. The large evento takes on a family atmosphere, and children, accompanied by adults, are welcome. There are folklore dances, music, songs, and a Mexican food court set up for attendees' enjoyment. I saw some indication of closures of some of these festivities this year due to the pandemic. If they are canceled, I hope next year we'll return to some semblance of normal. Before we go into international days, I heard a whisper that today, October the 11th, as well as being National Coming Out Day, which Kate spoke of earlier, and National Sausage Pizza Day, is UU National Appreciate Your Clergy Day. So with that in mind, here is Trudy with our appreciation of our superb pizza man. Our superb clergyman, Matt Alspaugh.
Thank you, Jan. In order to explain how important Matt is to us, I need to start with some history. Almost 15 years ago, a very, very small group of people decided to form a Unitarian Universalist fellowship here. We did not decide to form a support group or a spiritual sharing group or a dining club. We formed a Unitarian Universalist fellowship. We had a casual relationship between the UUA and us, but we were pretty much on our own. We grew steadily, often adding people who did not have a past with the UU world, and everyone who joined us brought us enrichment, but it was a lot of work. The original handful of us had to do everything at first. After 2 years, we developed a steering committee which produced our bylaws and led to our charter Sunday, but it was still a small group and everyone worked hard. Our greatest struggle was maintaining our commitment to Unitarian Universalism. We had proponents for a variety of other directions, including no direction but fellowship. But our intention was always to be a UU fellowship. I don't believe that anyone is more grateful for Reverend Matt than that small group who tried to accomplish everything. I think many people don't realize what a relief it was to finally have a real UU minister. Reverend Matt has given us a clear commitment to Unitarian Universalism and the freedom to pay attention to our own personal growth without having to always feel primary responsibility for the fellowship. For more than 3 years, we have had Matt's support and leadership. Fred Harland said to me that his dream was to have a fellowship that was not dependent on either one of us, on either Fred or me, and I share that. I know that having a minister has caused discomfort among some of us, but I, for one, am extraordinarily grateful for Reverend Matt's service. One of our founders died, and 2 can no longer be here full-time. I am not sure that we would have survived, let alone grown, without fresh, young leadership. Our aging founders are more grateful, Matt, than you can ever understand. I also know that it has been challenging for our members and friends who have loved the intimacy, excuse me. I'm sorry. I also know that it has been challenging for our members and friends who loved the intimacy of being lay-led, relying on each other's talents and insights. But we have grown, and we continue to grow. We used to have U.S. Thanksgiving on Lou and my terrace. We could all fit. We knew everyone. We were a family. Well, we're still a family, but a family with many more cousins. Our online services have come at a good time for us because we were exploding, and we were lucky to have a building without walls. We came together because of our shared values and our willingness to respect our differences. So it is not a surprise that we would find a minister who shares our histories. Many of our new members chose to move here because we have a UU minister. One person said, "I knew you were serious when you hired a minister." Matt, to me, you are the perfect minister for us. We are a fellowship of people who have had to remake ourselves. Except for Francisco, we are people who are from other countries and other lives. Some of us have lived in many countries, but all of us have chosen Mexico as our home after we left other careers and other homes. So Matt began his career as an electrical engineer at the very prestigious Bell Labs and moved on a successful career path. Somewhere along the line, he found Unitarian Universalism, met and married his wonderful wife, Liz, and decided that he wanted to move into the highly lucrative field of UU ministry. That path defines many of us. I don't think Matt would fully understand us if he hadn't had his own life changes. Matt's siblings are all wanderers, all expats or immigrants, and he values the dynamics of people who change direction during their lives. Most of us are lucky enough to not know how much pastoral care Matt provides. You might not realize just how good Matt is in a crisis, in a time of grief. With luck, you will never know that, but you will be grateful if you do. During his interview for his ministry with us, he asked a question. Matt asked what he could do that would really damage his relationship with us. Our answer was that he should remember that we are also intelligent people who have had interesting lives. He said, "Yes, of course, I understand that." And he has lived that answer. We are very lucky to have found a minister who is smart and interesting enough to meet our needs and humble enough to appreciate who we are. I especially like it when Matt says, "Well, that didn't work. Let's try something else." Thank you, Reverend Matt. Thank you for your compassion, your intelligence, and your definition that a half-time position is working a minimum of a 40-hour week. And Matt, now you're going to come up to the virtual podium and have a chance to share any thoughts you have with us.
Well, that music made me forget everything I wanted to say. I'm sorry. And this Clergy Appreciation Day, was it something dreamed up by Hallmark Cards to just get people to send more cards to people that don't need them? I have really enjoyed being your minister, and I'm completely surprised by this message and truly those wonderful words. I wish some of them were true, and yet, well, I know they are, and it's a little hard to take. But it has been a real delight to be with you, to feel the love of all of you as we've kind of worked through what this is like together. Part of the delight here is that everything is so different, that this congregation is quite different, quite out on the edge, on the tail from all the other congregations that I've ever known. And that has been just a real delight. So I've really enjoyed having my time here with you, and hope that that continues on for a good while. So thank you so much. And I love you all.
Thank you, Reverend Matt, and a virtual hug. And thank you, Trudy, for those stirring words. So now on to the October special days in the rest of the world. They are numerous, so I certainly won't put you to sleep with listing them all, but I picked a few that some of you might find interesting. Every day of the month has at least 5 or 6 special days listed, and these are just in the United States. As well as special days, there are special weeks and special months. Again, with multiple specials for every day. October 1st, for example, is National Coffee Day, National Day of the Older Person, National Black Dog Day. Someone asked me when National Yellow Dog Day was, but I didn't know. Maybe in November? October 1st is National Fire Pup Day, National Hair Day, National Homemade Cookies Day, and National Vegetarian Day. I swear I didn't make these up. There are similarly 6 special days for October 2nd and most other days of the month. October 3rd is National Kevin Day. October 5th is National Be Nice Day. October 8th is National Fluffernutter Day. Yeah, I don't know what that is either. October 9th is National Indigenous Peoples Day. It used to be Columbus Day, but in 1992 the folks in California decided that Indigenous people needed recognition and celebrating, so they changed it. October 11th is, as we already pointed out, Clergy Appreciation Day. Today, as Kate read earlier, and this is an official United Nations Day as well. October 13th is National Bra Day. I didn't make the rules. October 14th is National Dessert Day. October 15th is National Grouch Day. Maybe everyone has a stomachache after too many desserts on the 14th. This is one of my favorites. October 15th is National Cat Day. October 23rd is Slap Your Day, Co-Worker Day. And October 24th is United Nations Day. And the UN has its own list of international days. Tomorrow, October October 12th is Canadian Thanksgiving.
Jan,
It is much older than the American celebration, but has a long history of being commemorated on various dates. It is believed to come earlier than the American date because Canada is further north, and therefore the crops are ready for harvesting earlier in the year. It was first celebrated in 1578 by explorer Martin Frobisher and his ship's crews while trying to find the Northwest Passage. In 1879, it was declared a national holiday and occurred on various dates in October or November. Following World War I, it sometimes conflicted with Armistice Day, November the 11th, later called Remembrance Day. So finally, in 1957, Parliament decided to set the firm date on the second Monday in October, so they didn't have to keep declaring it on different dates each year. So, happy Turkey Day tomorrow, Canada. Here's an interesting bit of trivia. As most of you know from our smattering of Latin, octo means 8, but October is the 10th month. How did that happen? Well, the original Roman calendar only had 10 months, January and February not appearing month. So in that old calendar, October was the 8th month. However, when Julius Caesar changed the calendar for 12 months, the original numerical-based names, September, October, November, and December, stuck. So now you know. Another tidbit, there are 2 full moons in October this year. One, a harvest moon, occurred on October 1st, and the next one, a hunter's moon, will be on Halloween, October 31st. The second one is called a blue moon, and the peak illumination will be at 9:51 a.m. Central Time, but you can see it that night as well. A blue moon happens when two full moons occur in one of 2 cases, either twice in a season between solstices and equinoxes, or twice in a calendar month. October 16th is World Food Day. It began in 1979 in honor of the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO, and is observed each year in over 150 countries with different themes, raising awareness of the issues behind poverty and hunger, and awareness about obesity and malnutrition. Oddly enough, 2 sides of the same coin. There is a different theme each year to highlight areas for action and to provide a common focus, but is usually centered around agriculture, because only investment in agriculture, together with support for education and health, will turn this situation around. According to one source I found, here are some startling facts. Number 1, there is enough food in the world to feed the entire population, yet 820 million people go to bed hungry every night. Number 2, fishermen, small farmers, and herders produce about 70% of the global food supply, yet are vulnerable to food insecurity. Number 3, the UN estimated in 2018 that 489 million of 815 million undernourished people and 122 million of 185 million stunted children live in countries affected by conflicts like civil war. Number 4, an estimated 17 million children under 5 worldwide suffer from acute malnutrition. 17 million children under age 5 worldwide suffer from acute malnutrition, also known as severe wasting, yet only 20% of these have access to life-saving treatment, And number 5, poverty and hunger are acute among rural populations. Obesity and malnutrition are both major causes of concern. Obesity becoming epidemic globally and causing 2.8 million deaths each year. 41 million preschool children are obese, 603 million adults, and 107 million children out of 7.5 billion people are obese. Sobering stats. So, why do we even mark special days, international or otherwise? Well, because they are occasions to educate the general public on issues of concern, to mobilize political will and resources, to address global problems in the case of international days, and to celebrate and enforce the achievements of humanity, and to have fun while doing so and to make them more memorable. Final thought. Let your food be your medicine, but not your medicine be your food. So be it.
This is the time in our service when we ask that you remember that we share our gifts here through pledging and donations. We are not meeting in person now, but our connections to each other, our contributions to the community continue. Instructions for payments to the fellowship are on a slide during the announcements every week. And while you are considering your gifts to the fellowship, remember that each month, LCUUF donates 5,000 pesos or more to an organization providing food aid in our lakeside community. When you pay your pledge, please add something for Share the Basket, as you used to place in pesos in the physical basket. You can donate in the same way that you pay your pledge, but please donate Share the Basket separately or indicate what part of your donation is for Share the Basket. Your offerings are gratefully received. We will now have Monica Devine talk to us about why she pledges.
Good morning. About 10 years ago, I decided to become a foster parent. As part of my training, I needed to complete a 6-week course involving the rules and regulations of foster parenting. One section was devoted to understanding the importance of attachment and bonding that occurs between a mother and child. In the first 5 years of life, this bonding becomes permanent, and the breakage of this attachment causes severe abandonment issues. Children are usually placed in foster care because of neglect or abuse. However, if bonding occurs, children will continue to love and deeply miss the parent's presence, no matter how neglectful or abusive the parent was. We were instructed that we should not try to interfere or downplay the emotions the child feels toward their parent. Rather, we should encourage them in their efforts to continue to show love toward the parent and perhaps be able to reunite with them someday. One of the placements I had was with a 16-year-old girl, Brittany, who had been in and out of several foster homes since she was 10 years old. At that time, the Denver SWAT team raided her family home, consisting of her mother, aunt, 2 uncles, and 8 children, because all of the adults in the home were found to be using and dealing crack cocaine. In addition, they were all members of the East Siders, a notorious Mexican-American Denver gang. The adults were all incarcerated in federal prison, and all of the children were immediately placed in foster care. Over the years, Brittany's mother would be released from time to time, but would be rearrested in a few weeks or so for continued drugging and dealing, and would be reincarcerated. The social worker assigned to Brittany's case started bringing letters for Brittany from her mother in jail. I would give her the letters and she would accept them and take them to her room. Brittany was a quiet, intelligent teenager who was generally compliant with the house rules and was never belligerent or rude to me. I asked her one time if she was writing back to her mother. No, she said quietly. I used to, but I found that my mother only loves me when she's in prison. When she's out, she doesn't want to be with me. She just wants to do crap and party with her friends. Then, when she's back inside, she starts writing to me again and tells me how much she misses me. She drugs over me. I suggested that she take up that topic with her therapist at their weekly sessions. After a time, the therapist told me she thinks Brittany feels conflicted about not writing to her mother, and perhaps I could encourage her to try again. So I sat down with her and we had some conversations about the situation, and I finally suggested to her that maybe she should start writing to her mother again and see if they could reconnect in some way. Why should I do that though? She asked quietly. Because it's the right thing to do, I said. You will be leaving foster care in a year or so, and your mother will be released from prison just about that time. What are you hoping for then? I want the two of us to get an apartment together, she said quickly. We can live together, and I will help her stay off drugs. Well, let's see if you can get started by writing to her and start making plans with her. So she did. It was a rocky road at times, and it didn't happen right away. But eventually, she and her mother did reunite. Sometimes I think we do things that may not be easy, but we know it's the right thing to do. We pay our taxes. We volunteer to support the needy. We wear a mask out in public. We vote in elections because we know it's the right thing to do. Pledging a certain amount of money to the fellowship every year might be one of those right things to do. I believe in the UU principles. I enjoy the companies of others in this congregation. I want to contribute to the growth of this community. So I pledge because I think for me that it is the right thing to do. Our pledge is $100,000 for the fiscal year from February 1st, 2021 to January 31, 2022. Submit your pledge by sending an email to Lorna Dean, there's her email, stating that your pledge is a specific amount in US or Canadian dollars or pesos. Put your full name on the email. If a couple is pledging together, put both names on the email. Thank you for your generosity.
Let us extinguish our chalices with these words, which we read together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts and share with all the world. Our closing words today are by Edna St. Vincent Millay, a well-known and loved American poet of the early 20th century. Now the autumn shudders in the rose's root, far and wide the ladders lean among the fruit. Now the autumn clambers up the trellised frame, and the rose remembers the dust from which it came. Brighter than the blossom on the rose's bough sits the wizened orange, bitter berry now. Beauty never slumbers, all is in her name, but the rose remembers the dust from which it came.